self, Christian consciousness, Christ consciousness, the self in all things. Run toward that pain of the self to realize that's me. That's consciousness, which is the whole gamut, the whole thing. It's telling you something. When you get stung or bit by a mosquito, you itch. It's your body telling you to slap it, otherwise it'll It's telling you very, very precisely. It's done it. And I think when you make it all the godlike within, you got to look inward. I think we forget that to look inward is to look outward. Is to look at the people around us.
And to look inward requires the basic needs being met of people, which is very big. It's an external thing to have clean air, clean water, clean food, shelter, electricity, education, healthcare. Those are external things that then enable you to inquire with the question, who am I? What is reality? And that's a really important point. It synthesizes science and spirituality. It synthesizes consciousness and physicalism, which is ultimately what we need to do. And to actually tie in what you guys have been talking about a little bit, is that if you come from a place of like learning that you can take a breath, like 1, 2, 3, count to 3, take a breath before you react, that's fantastic, and that can be really helpful, and you can go and share that with the world without alleviate suffering, totally. But the way that, in a sense, awakening plays into this is that if you go all the way in this process of emptying out all of your conditioning and all of your separation and all of your ego, and rather than this being something that is trying to still extract worthiness from other people. Instead, this comes as just literally the sun itself enlightened. It comes as just the sun itself radiating perpetually onto all, and so you're not actually ever coming from a place of needing to get something from other people. So it's almost like the level of purity of service and the level of purity of compassion increases in proportion to how awakened you are.
It's also, the ability to which you can experience I think is directly proportional to what others do. Martin Luther King said something like, for some strange reason, I'm not happy until you're happy. What affects you affects me. And really that's maybe the fundamental disconnect of our entire society. You use that word extraction. That's kind of the core value system that we travel through. It's like an addiction. It's like meditation kind of breaking out an addictive narrative. And I think that's corrosive and levels of what most people think a human being is, or reality is. That a human being is selfish, is greedy, that we're competitive, that the purpose of life is to fuck other people over and get what you can and say fuck the rest. And it's capitalism. It's a system. It's an economic system that is a zealous, economic, idolatrous, false belief system that we have implanted and spread over the entire earth and have said, ultimate separateness that spreads and blankets everything, this sort of antichrist, this nebulous thing that doesn't really exist, that we substantiate through money and through trade and through these economic systems, which are really the most corrosive, religious doctrine in the world. These forces are absolutely and directly keeping all of us from ascending, to a high degree. And I see this system really penetrate much deeper, even into spiritual people. Spiritual people still see themselves still see the system itself, the way that our society runs, the way that our consumer cycle is driven on endless growth and endless consumption and endless, self-interest, maximizing self-interest. I see a lot of spiritual people, trapped in this because it's the deepest unquestioned narrative, the deepest identification and addiction. And I think it even gets me to the point where I have really distanced myself from the conscious movement in a lot of ways, because it's so pervasive, this self-interest, this kind of narcissistic spirituality that is all about me, all about how I can ascend. And then, these people who aren't ascending, they're sheep. They don't understand anything. They don't know what's happening. They're going to fall behind, and I'm going to ascend. And this is a toxicity in our spiritual movement, and it needs to be addressed, because we can't individually ascend. It's self-interest in a way, the self-interest, for all of us to get to the point where we change these systems, we change these identifications, this bad dream of humanity, of human history, and get to a point where everyone's needs are met. So that the purpose of society itself, the design of society, is to work people up that ladder of meeting their needs, to get them to the point where they can really figure out what the fuck is going on and ascend.
I think enlightenment is the most selfish pursuit in existence. It's all about the self. It's all about the self to the point where at the end, you flip yourself inside out. So it's all about the self up to the point where you realize there's absolutely no self. And then after you realize there's absolutely no self, whatever action that you do is not going to be your decision anymore. So some people wake up and then they don't do shit. Some people wake up, they play video games. Some people wake up, they do things for the environment, they help people. Wake up, they become teachers. Some people wake up and then they become a CEO. But after you wake up, anything that you do will be an act.
Showing up in that case, showing up for fashion. I thought that's so cool. And you touched upon wearables. I think wearables are going to be in Cryptovoxels. They're still not huge. They are for individuals, but in terms of market activity. But I think wearables are like an amazing way for people to showcase their personality, because just like in the real world, physical world, I'll wear if I wear Gucci, then you're like, okay, cool, he's has some money, you can kind of gauge someone's personality a bit. And I think wearables is a great way to just showcase your personality and kind of showcase what you're into, especially because we can in Cryptovoxels design whatever wearables you want. You can have a squid mask or whatever, and just hang out and showcase that, which I think is important.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this also I kind of realized a couple of weeks ago that the whole art scene that's happening is super rare, where people are, artists are making art and being incentivized with healthy amount of collectors there with money that want to help artists and to collect pieces. But there's no reason why that whole movement, or a big part of that movement, can't be brought to the virtual worlds like Cryptovoxels and Decentraland, because suddenly they're making pieces of art that the early collections of what hopefully may be popular artists or artists on the same platform. And collectors or investors will be interested in buying those because they're the early pieces of that artist's work in these virtual platforms. So I think that sort of movement, when we start to unlock, it's already unlocked in Cryptovoxels. But with Decentraland, when we do it, hopefully that sort of movement will start to do these virtual worlds. It's got the same concept of limited amount of mints, early collecting pieces. They all have a date and stamp. They're all tokenized. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the virtual clothing market is going to be, over the course of the next 10 years, going to become a multi-billion-dollar market. I know that sounds insane, and it is pretty insane, but I mean, people are going to have a lot of different avatars. People are going to have a lot of different. It's how do you showcase your personality in a visual manner? Everyone loves to do that, and so people are going to have a lot of avatars, spend a lot of money in that, but also the clothing especially. I think people are going to love to wear crazy cool stuff to all sorts of different events and just different worlds and stuff like that. So I think it's going to grow into a massive market.
Should we jump to the next thing?
Yeah. So speaking of market, number 6 is market activity. So you want to go over to 9, nonfungible.com. It's my best. By the way, huge shout out to Non-Fungible, Dan, and how do you pronounce it? Zoo. Yeah, Zoo. Yeah, but his name is like Gauthier or something like that. Anyways, Zoo is easier, but yeah, I think they do a great job collecting all this data. Like, they're our coin market cap, because without them, like, I wouldn't know what I was looking at. So it's great to have. But yeah, so let's go down to the just like that graph. Just scroll down to the bottom. It should be like a wavy graph. There's NFT crypto news spiking. Go to all. Yeah. So I think this is a great way to visually see how, the market activity started off very, very slow, and Ben wasn't, working part-time and kind of selling things as I got built, and wasn't, trying to get on the skis there. And then, you could see it pick up in April of 2019. Things got a little crazy. And actually, that's when I first got involved. It was April of 2019. So I definitely felt that hype. I thought it was like everything was booming. I was gonna like run out, but and then there was a period of people just like kind of the community growing slowly and things kind of happening. And then I want to say, I'm not sure of this January 2020 spike. I want to say it's because of the Origin City was selling it, but I'm not 100% positive. I know there was a ton of market activity leading up to that, and then the days, like the final, like I think 6 weeks or something like that of the auctions, because the parcels are sold in an auction format on a weekly basis. Those went crazy. Like, you had to. Did you ever buy any of that, Maddie?
I didn't know. It was nuts because every week I see Cryptovoxels just like spike.
Yeah. It was insane. Like, you would. So basically, Ben would mint them and on OpenSea, and it would be like a feeding frenzy. Like, you would just click refresh, click as much as possible. And you just buy anything that popped up. You couldn't even like target what you wanted, and stuff would be sold in like minutes.
So what was it? Was it like a reverse Dutch auction, or was it just like it goes up and buys any cents?
Has anything to do with my muscles in this place. Again.
Yeah, it was mostly reverse Dutch, and like that was great. Back was people obviously when you get to friends like that, people are not waiting to want to hear like they're gonna buy it like whatever, right? And so you would kind of put a rough market price maybe a little bit higher, and then people would just buy it like crazy. So and what we're seeing now is that the activity kind of tapered down a little bit, and then had another big spike in like July, and now we see it kind of tapering down again, and it just kind of goes these ways. I think there's kind of a few things here. Ethereum has gone up significantly in the past 2 weeks or something like that. I think activity in Cryptovoxels has gone down to 1. All of a sudden, everything is like priced in Ethereum, so suddenly lost a bunch of like gas price.
You think that's the air you're breathing?
People don't mind spending $5 on gas or buying like a $500 piece of land or whatever. So I don't think that's a major issue, but yeah.
Yeah, you can see the blue line the blue spikes I'm issuing like every.
My little girl is always getting into something. That's why we use new Tide Hygienic Clean.
Sale?
Dad, I went exploring.
You look like you were in a swamp.
I was under the porch.
Now I'm more worried about what I can't see.
There are critters and mud and magical creatures.
Good thing Tide Hygienic Clean removes the visible and invisible dirt.
I'm going to the aquatic kingdom.
Have fun. If you've got to be certain it's clean, it's got to be Tide Hygienic Clean.
Before you drive the all-new Nissan Rogue, you gotta ask yourself, how rogue are you gonna go? We talking be one with nature in a desert rogue? Go snowshoeing in Alaska rogue? Or take the long way home just because kind of rogue? Just a question, but with 5 available drive modes, you're sure to find the answer.
Go rogue in the all-new, fiercely reimagined 2021 Nissan Rogue, now with the most standard safety features in its class. See Owner's Manual for important safety information on the Pacific segmentation. 2021 Nissan Rogue versus latest market competitors. Base models compared.
The biggest one I know of was there was one super tall
I'm on a quest to fix what has been broken. Immerse yourself in the beat till the third eye and your mind is awoken. Raise my consciousness, I'm on a quest to fix what has been broken. Immerse yourself in the beat till the third eye and your mind is awoken. I do not know what is really the stake anymore, and I question it all. I only know I know nothing, and that is the only thing I can recall. I do not know where to go in this life, cause something please send me a sign. Cause I am forever in search of a frequency vibrating higher than mine. Raising my consciousness. Immerse yourself in the third eye and your mind is awoken. Raising my consciousness. Immerse yourself in the beat till the third eye and your mind is awoken. Straight lines begin to spiral when I'm feeling immersive. Immerse yourself in the beat till the third eye and your mind is awoken. Vibrating higher than mine. Cause I am forever in search of a frequency vibrating higher than mine. Vibrating higher than mine. Immerse yourself in the beat till the third eye and your mind is awoken. Cause I am forever in search of a frequency vibrating higher than mine.
And like the person to me reflect the current energy in mind. It's like mind's not the same as it used to be. So, you know, I can't imagine how crazy this would be if Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, the space goes to anything, even half of what it was previously, and we only eventually multiply it back.
on printing more stuff, which he should, because the population will expand. But he wants it to be like value add, like to the whole world, and not just like I need more money, I'm gonna print it. Like, oh, I need more money, it's gonna be strategic.
Yeah, doing an auction like this and kind of getting investors, it's actually providing no value to the ecosystem. Providing value to them because obviously it is funding, but in terms of the ecosystem, unless people actually build on those lands, they're probably doing more worse than good, right? And it's good to see like.
I think speculation is pretty like important to any sort of market. So like, if people want to buy and hold with the intention of flipping, like I'm all for that. I think it's good to have like a secondary market activity, people trading this stuff and making money. Because most likely, if you make money from NFTs, you're probably gonna spend it on more NFTs. At least that's what I'm doing, right? So I think speculation is a great way to get people excited about markets and get people excited about projects, really.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I think like the core of these virtual projects are going to be the artists and the builders, right? So yeah, I was also thinking. I remember when Ben announced it, and I was actually just about to buy some land, and I was like, whoa, wait a second, like this is not a good thing. That was me again, like what you mentioned, thinking of how I would personally feel as an investor. I think it's kind of selfish, and it's also it's focused on our own little pool of investment. But at the end of the day, they're going to reach prices where it's unaffordable for artists to come in, and especially with the recent movement of only like a very small amount of land. I think it's only 3,000. So you don't have a healthy mix of investors and artists and owners, or maybe you do, but it like caps out at a very big time. With Decentraland, they have like 90,000 lands, and with the Sandbox, they have like 180,000 lands. So even if like 50% decide to support, hopefully you get some sort of development activity with the other 50%. But with Cryptovoxels, I think it needs to be a growth thing. It needs to add more artists and land. But yeah, like you said, it has to be with the movement with the community. If it's too fast, it might cause some pretty bad ruptures. But yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Is there a way to kind of zoom out on the map, or is this maximum zoomed out?
I don't know. I thought there was.
Oh, you know what? You can make your screen, command minus, or I guess that's on.
Oh yeah.
It's on.
Wait, I'm doing it, but
Nice. So, do you ever remember seeing the world back, like when, I don't know, back in like 2019?
oh yeah.
It's so crazy to see like what's been going on, and I just, if you take what we have now and extrapolate that, like, I don't know, think about like 3 years in the future, it's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be like a whole city and just like crazy stuff.
Well, there's a 3D map, right? I'm pretty sure I saw a 3D map.
If you click on a parcel, it'll kind of spin around it in 3D, but and then you can kind of zoom in and zoom out of that particular parcel. But I don't know if you can like 3D map.
Oh, zooming out at the parcel.
I think Spidey actually made some sort of like price heat map for CB, and also I think DCL. He's a wizard, so.
It's pretty interesting to me how small the islands are compared to the origin city.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I don't really. I haven't really thought about if I'm a pro or like if I'm a fan or not of the size of the islands. I guess because after I got over like the initial like hurdle of like, hey, like he's printing more land, and I was like, you know what, Origin City is gonna always be Origin City. It's kind of like I don't know, like how there's like there's Manhattan and there's like the Bronx and there's like the Brooklyn and you know what I mean. There's just different. So after I got over that, I was like, you know what, like maybe he's gonna print another place that's the size of Origin or maybe bigger. Like I have no idea, but in theory, like it should be all good for the platform. Like regardless if there's more users on the platform, Origin City and the surrounding stuff, everything that exists before is gonna hopefully increase in value. So yeah. All right, should we jump to so I guess that was going through current market activity. What about number 8, growth outlook? Yeah, so I mean we've definitely touched upon this already, but like I'm super bullish on 2 things in the world because if you look at the world, it's pretty crazy right now. The Fed's printing money, we got COVID, it's crazy, right? But 2 things I'm super excited about is Bitcoin crazy. And then also the metaverse. And what we're seeing right now with Cryptovoxels, with DCL, with Sound in Space, these are all like the pre-Napsters of the metaverse. It's like the very, very, very early days of what this is going to be. Because you cannot have, my thesis on all of this is that you cannot have a true metaverse that is centralized. So you can have something that looks and feels like Cryptovoxels, or looks and feels like DCL or whatever, or created by Facebook or created by Epic Games, which is like a Fortnite creator. But you cannot, it's not actually real because there's no user, there's no copyrights, there's no ownership. And you're not going to spend a lot of time, money, and effort into a business or into a world or into anything really if you know that it can suddenly be seized from you at any time. Right? You're just going to be like, I don't know if it's kind of like the analogy of like, in communist Russia, like when it was the Soviet Union, people obviously weren't allowed to start businesses, but even if you were able to, you didn't want to because the government would be like, no, we're seizing that. We're seizing all your hard work and we're taking your car or whatever if you got a car. And then, so what a lot of people do is they would go to America, they go to the UK, they go to Australia, they go somewhere where there's strong property rights, and then they go like build their lives there. And so I see that as, yeah, Facebook and Epic Games or whatever, they're gonna have metaverse-like stuff, and maybe it'll connect to these worlds, probably not, maybe. But like what's building here is like super special, like the true metaverse. So, like needless to say, I'm super bullish on metaverse and what's being done here.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you in the sense of there is a pretty healthy community now, especially with Bitcoin, where they're a bit more aware in the sense of they want self-ownership, they want to be self-governed, they don't want, so like, Mark Zuckerberg is like the golden child for entrepreneurship, but he also became like the main guy that represents centralization now. The person that runs Facebook, steals your data, whatever it may be. But it's something that I guess normal people are okay with, but I'm seeing newer generations be a bit more skeptic of and more in tune with, especially once they kind of mature a bit and understand how things work. They're like, oh well, I don't want to sell my data, I don't want some sort of centralized thing. I think that movement's going to continue, especially the more popular people it gets, the more that sort of awareness I think will happen. And yeah, I think there's a lot of future with these metaverse worlds. I remember I did a comparison market cap.
I don't think I have. All right, before I get to that,
You want to pull it up?
let me tell you a few things that are affected by pressure. For example, your knife set. How sharp are your knives?
Oh yeah.
That is all about pressure. All about pressure. Okay? Are you going to fall through the ice on that pond as you walk across it? That's all about pressure. And stupidity. That's stupidity. All right. So let's talk about this. There you go. Pressure is force divided by area.
Oh. Ooh.
Okay?
And I didn't even know that equation, but that makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. So watch. So, if I'm walking out onto a frozen pond and I don't want to fall through, if I have tiny itty bitty ass feet, then the area of the bottom of my feet is small. But what happens if you have a small number in the denominator of a fraction? The value goes higher, right? So pressure is force divided by area, and that area gets smaller and smaller. The pressure gets higher, and you punch through that ice and die. You need clown shoes. Get the biggest ass shoes you can find. So that force is spread over the largest area. So when you have a big area, the force is divided by a big area with low pressure. So with low pressure, now you can the ice without sinking. Your chances of not breaking the ice. With snowshoes, what are snowshoes? They're like the mountain man snow equivalent of clown shoes, right? Because the snowshoe is this big. It's like a big net. And it attaches to the bottom of your feet. And when you walk on it, your body weight is a larger area, and you don't plunge down through deep snow. You still sink a little bit, but not as much as you would have, and then you can actually walk. Have you ever seen?
At the moment, I feel like I'm trying to hang out. I know about it. You can say people there. I know about it. But it's going to be a time where this is
The width of the paws of a polar bear. Oh my God! It's like, oh my God, because there's some big mofos and they don't want to sink through the snow. Okay, they spend a lot of their time on ice, but this matters. When you go to cut something, you apply a force. How do you make that force as effective as possible to cut? You want the lowest possible area over which you're applying that force so that you have the highest possible pressure.
20,000.
Okay, you get pressure free. So when you, what is a dull knife? You look at it under a microscope, it's all cubed up, so your pressure, let's say you put 10 pounds of pressure, is spread over this long area over the length of the blade. You try to cut something with it, and you mangle the food, and you have to press it harder to get it through. Tell me, of a sharpened blade edge, it is so tiny that even mild force of the knife. That's why chefs are always sharpening their knife, because they want to increase the pressure on their food, because they don't want to have to increase their force to get the pressure they want. They're reducing the area. So this is force versus pressure. I don't know how many people internalize this and deal with it, think about it, but this distinction between force and pressure manifests everywhere. And by the way, it's why
something sexy enough, like
can explode your house.
cars or something.
You say, oh, because the wind is high. Here's what's happening, right? It's very low pressure in the middle of a tornado, okay? Really low pressure. And inside your house, you have slightly higher pressure than that tornado.
All right, so
Suppose
we have
that
here
pressure difference is like
rating, and we know we talked
1
about
pound per square inch difference,
really,
let's say.
But I mean,
Okay, so
what we
might be a little high for this example. A tenth of a pound per square inch. I don't care. A tenth of a pound. Okay? So inside the house, the air has not equilibrated with the outside of the house yet. The tornado comes, it sits on your house. Oh my gosh, every square inch of your wall is feeling a tenth of a pound pressing outward. So 10 square inches feels how much? No, it's a tenth of a pound. So 10 square inches is a pound, okay? 100 square inches is just 10 inches by 10 inches. That's 10 pounds. Your wall is probably bigger than 10 inches by 10 inches square. You keep adding this up. You get 1,000 pounds of pressure.
Oh my God, that's more than the Kool-Aid guy absolutely through a wall to say, oh yeah.
So what I didn't say it. So it's thousands of pounds of
I think that just the fact that you said as a user
spread across that wall, but the whole wall is only built to handle you leaning on it, or to hold up the house. It's not enough to prevent the tornado.
Blockchain is by far one of the best industries for developers in 2021. Like if I had to go back to square one and start over again in 2021, blockchain is what I would do for lots of reasons. It's one of the highest paid skills in tech. There's so many different ways to make money with the skills. You can do things besides just get a job, you can passive income, trading bots, flash loans. It's crazy how many things you can do with it, right? So in this video, I want to make this guide on how to do that, how to get started in blockchain in 2021, because so much has changed, and I want to make this updated video to talk about the state of blockchain in 2021 and what you need to do to transition into this exciting, futuristic, highly lucrative career. So whether you're an advanced developer already and you want to transition into blockchain, or whether you're a total beginner, like starting from scratch, then this guide is for you. So before we get into that, if you're new around here, earlier, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel I turn you into a blockchain master. So I spend a lot of time creating videos like this to help you all learn about blockchain and how to transition into this industry. And the only two things that I ask in return for creating this massive video for you is that you like this video and click that like button down below, just smash it, the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to this channel so you see a lot more high-valued videos just like this one. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's jump in and get started. You know, I was a professional developer already before I got into blockchain. There's lots of people who have, like, you know, gotten into cryptocurrency and like, hey, I want to learn to code, okay? So that's great. I mean, like I said, I was already a developer, but cryptocurrency is what got me interested in blockchain technology in the first place, you know, caused me to really make that career transition, because that's what I do now. You know, I do blockchain development only at this point. And so I want to help anybody in any of those camps, like, learn how to do this stuff. So we're going to talk about everything that you need to know. So I did one of these videos last year, but we're going to update it for 2021 because so much has changed. So we're going to talk about, like, the current state of the industry, like what's the average salary, who's hiring blockchain developers, how can you get a remote job, all right? What are the hottest trends that you need to keep up with and know about if you want to jump in on this stuff right now while it's still early? Alright, we're talking about what to learn, the programming languages, what are the skills, you know, concepts, everything you need to know, and then we'll hash that into a step-by-step plan. So wherever you're starting from, we'll say, like, start here, and then go this thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing, until you met your goal, okay? And then finally, you know, we're going to answer some frequently asked questions, like, you know, how long does it take to become a blockchain developer? You know, should you learn blockchain first, or should you learn a bunch of other programming languages before you transition into blockchain? Okay, those are questions I get all the time, and I want to give you clarity on those in this video. Alright, we'll also answer some really general stuff like what do blockchain developers do, which blockchain should I use, all that kind of stuff throughout the video as we hit those relevant points. Alright, so get comfortable, grab a snack. We're going to be here a while, but you're going to be so glad that you watched this video because we're going to answer all your questions and give you a concrete step-by-step plan on how to do this in 2021. Alright, so, you know, bookmark this video, come back, watch it, repeat, study this, live this, eat this, breathe this, if this is your goal. Alright, so now let's talk about the state of blockchain development in 2021. So let's look at real-world salary data, like what are people actually earning in blockchain developer jobs. We'll look at some job postings out there in the wild so that we can see what the actual job requirements are from, you know, people who are trying to hire blockchain developers, okay? So let's start off with the average blockchain developer salary. So the average salary in the United States, that's a important distinction here, is $154,000 per year at the time of this video, okay? So now, of course, that is somebody with some experience. If you're brand new, you're probably not just gonna, like, wake up tomorrow after watching a couple videos and earn that kind of money, but that shows you what you can aim for over time as you decide to go down this career path, okay? It's an incredibly lucrative field, and you can see the salary distribution here, like, sure, you know, 154 is the national average. You can see a big concentration just below that average, which means there's people who are you know, highly paid, who are kind of skewing the average a little bit. But that just shows you the upside of what is possible here over the long term. As you gain some experience, you gain some expertise, you can make a lot of money, okay? So even on the low end, you know, there's lots of jobs that are offering like $74,000 to $94,000. So like basically less than 20% of people make less than 6 figures, according to the salary data. So now, of course, this is on a recruiting platform. This is ZipRecruiter.com. This is based on the jobs that are posted on their website, but we can still compare this to other fields that they're using to hire for the same thing. So let's see, like, how does blockchain pay compared to other technical fields? So this is not a blockchain developer website, so they'll list all kinds of jobs. So it's a mobile developer, all right? So mobile developer, the average salary is $105,000. So $50,000 less. And you can see the salary distribution here. There's lots of people making way less than the average, all right? And the top end's only about $150,000, which is right smack in the middle of the average for blockchain, all right? Let's look at just regular web developer. The only national average is only $75,000.
The Honda
so literally
HR-V
half
CR-V,
of the average salary
Pilot,
for
Passport,
blockchain.
and
So that kind of gives you a big picture perspective on how to weight this. All right, compared to other fields. So if you're just like starting from scratch, or maybe you're in another software development niche already, and you're trying to figure out where you want to specialize, then blockchain's pretty attractive compared to the alternatives available to you. All right, so. Let's look at some job postings to see, like, what do blockchain developers do at their job? What do they know to be hired? We'll talk about a lot of that in depth as we go through this video.
No one
knows
some stuff. Right.
We'll start off, just searching here for blockchain developer jobs. As a way to do this, you can just website or job post website.
I want to talk about the sun. Color of the sun.
Some other tips are you might want to search for.
Well, you know me, I don't see color.
You don't see color.
Sorry, we're already done here.
Sometimes they're labeled software developer, but they have blockchain
so here's the thing.
The job
If
description.
you're
Okay,
a school child
and say blockchain
and
developer
draw
title, but anyways,
Well, then get your shit
here
together.
is a
Get it all
principal
together
blockchain
and
developer.
put it in a backpack.
It's a remote
All
job.
your shit.
All right,
So it's
in
together.
Los Angeles.
But the sun is
So this is
And if you
for
gotta take it somewhere, take it somewhere, you know?
Well,
Take it
I
to
would
the
be
store
very
and sell it.
impressed,
So put it in a
high
shit
side.
museum. I don't care.
This is definitely
You're
not
talking about black
user
hole.
experience.
No, it's always a big
Get your
yellow
shit together.
ball.
You guys are the fucking worst. Your gods are alive. Fuck you.
5 years of software. But there's plenty of people who are going to be watching this video who have 5 years of software engineering experience. And you may not even really need 5 years of experience. Okay, that's the reality behind these job postings. Sometimes companies requires this, huge requirements. But even if you need,
Are there any you might want to leave right now because we're not sure if there's a Crayola available for you to draw your little scenes with the house and grass.
So here's the thing. The sun is rubbing.
So they want experience with JavaScript, Go, and C++. So strong computer science fundamentals. Really general stuff. Really just general blockchain knowledge is kind of what they're looking for. So they want somebody who knows Node, React, Go, C++, AWS, Ethereum. That's important. We're talking about Ethereum technologies quite a bit in this video. Solidity. All right, this is a programming language used for Ethereum smart contracts. So they get good vacation, all the best. All right, so anyways, that basically really standard set of requirements for blockchain developers, but somebody with a significant amount of experience, and they're going to be making, a really healthy 6-figure salary. So we'll look at another job posting here. This is for Ethereum blockchain engineers. They specify that in the title, whereas the other one is also really an Ethereum blockchain developer as well. It's just they don't say it in the title, so sometimes you have to really
Also not yellow. Okay.
So anyway,
what color is the sun?
This is for an
white.
Ethereum blockchain engineer, so again, flexible, remote.
White.
All right. See, a lot of these jobs are remote. Blockchain's incredibly remote friendly.
Just
because,
like everything else.
It's such a new field, and
Not everything.
We gotta whitewash. You know what? Seriously, we gotta reboot. Once we whitewash all of history, including the sun. Really?
So it's not yellow.
So for that reason,
I can give you evidence of this. If you need evidence, but I'm simply saying that as the sun gets Earth and atmosphere, the sun is directly overhead, or anywhere near directly overhead. Let's pull that as the sun gets lower and lower in the sky, light through the atmosphere is longer. Okay? Because now you have that angle. And the lower the sun gets on the sky, the more and more atmosphere. And in fact, you can calculate how many equivalent atmospheres it went through.
All right, so we'll talk about React in this
Okay,
video.
and you just need a little bit of trigonometry. It's a
front-end
simple
development as well. So
and if it's low on the horizon, it goes through 5, 6, 10 equivalent atmospheres.
Performance tests.
When it's low on the horizon. So whatever the atmosphere is doing to the sun when it's high up
smart contracts, knowledge
it's
of
doing
React,
it 10 times that
DevOps
and more when it goes
like
lower.
AWS,
Okay.
Google
So
Cloud
let's see what the
platforms,
atmosphere is doing when the sun
Docker.
is overhead.
Okay, so there's, anyways, we don't need to go through everything in there. But the whole idea is a full stack developer position. It didn't look like they specified the experience. It says a senior role, okay. But this is still like $105,000 to $180,000 roughly per year, so pretty big range, probably based on your experience. But yeah, so that's what a job requirements look like for a senior developer. So both these jobs have been very experienced.
Of the blue side of the
Something that's
spectrum,
a little
the
less
blue
experienced,
purple,
it's
the
like
violet
starting
side.
out. Okay,
Those particles
so based on ZipRecruiter's platform, this says the national average for junior blockchain developers is still $123,000. That seems like it might be a little high, to tell you the truth. But hey, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe their platform's totally right. But I think, yeah, it's possible for juniors to make six-figure salaries. It just seems like 120 they're going to be a little high, but hey, that's their platform says. So as you can see, the salary distribution here. Let's look at a job posting for an internship. So, like, this may be great if you're just starting out and you want to get your foot in the door as fast as possible. But sometimes that's a good way to get started. Like, sometimes an internship is even better than a coding boot camp, because if you can, like, teach yourself with some online resources, some on-demand video content.
1 and part 2. Go watch those 2 episodes if you haven't already. It's going to change your entire orientation towards life and how you see human beings and yourself. And then this will take it just to the next level. So first, I want you to notice, just looking at the animal kingdom, looking at the shape of animals. So let's first look at the shape that animals take. Why does a snake have that kind of shape that it has, which is very different from the shape of a giraffe, which is different from the shape of a kangaroo, which is different from the shape of a bat, which is different from the shape of an octopus, which is different from the shape of a...
So here's where it looks like some technical skills come into play. So blockchain evaluation, smart contract development, implementation, and supporting digital strategy group initiatives. So that's probably where your technical skills go into play. If you understand how smart contracts work and blockchains, you'll evaluate them. You'll actually create some smart contracts. And then,
but we don't really see
you'll basically have
just how serious their shape is.
How to make decisions.
Their shape is not just some arbitrary.
So they want you to be able to develop for blockchain, all that kind of stuff. Their shape. So anyways, that's a pretty big range of what the salary data looks like, what the job situation looks like, what should blockchain developers be doing based on these actual real-world job posts. All right, so now let's talk about what people actually use blockchain for. Okay, I've got a big list of things over here. This is most of them. We're going to talk about all of them in this section. But let's start out. What is blockchain? You might have seen Bitcoin, Ethereum, and understand the difference between blockchain. So let's start with the most popular cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, but the Bitcoin blockchain is what enables that cryptocurrency to exist. Okay? So Bitcoin blockchain is just a distributed network of a bunch of different computers across the world that public ledger that keeps track of who owns how much Bitcoin, and every time a Bitcoin is sent from one person to another, the network facilitates that transaction. Alright, so we'll talk more about that probably in this video. That's the basics. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin blockchain enables that cryptocurrency to exist. The same thing is true for Ethereum, the second most popular cryptocurrency. Ethereum is a cryptocurrency.
I'll turn you inside out.
For simple purposes, Ethereum
Depending on how many particles there are, you'll get a simple yellow
so it's not all blockchain.
I'll turn you inside out.
So the big but it also does a lot more things. Okay, it functions more like a worldwide computer that supports programming.
frequency vibrating higher than mine. Raising my consciousness, I'm on a quest to fix what has been broken. Immerse yourself in the beat till the third eye and your mind is awoken. Raising my consciousness, I'm on a quest to fix what has been broken. Immerse yourself in the beat till the third eye and your mind is awoken.
We're talking about some big categories. Cryptocurrency is a huge use case of blockchain.
Do you ever feel like you're different from most people? Like you're from another planet or just from the stars? Star seeds originate from many different higher or alternate dimensions, parallel universes, and planes of existence.
Blockchain's really good at handling money because it's just value. Right? You can
Star seeds are the souls who have awakened to their mission of tuning into these higher levels of light and serving the collective consciousness.
And doing things with cryptocurrency. There's a blockchain developer is really popular. Part of that is payments, all right? So paying for things in cryptocurrency, maybe a checkout system where you accept.
Understanding the full truth of your galactic nature and origin comes as you awaken to the remembrance of who you are. As you awaken to your high vibrational radiant light and spirit, more of your manifestation ability comes into focus. Love and gratitude.
So let's say you've worked in some other field of blockchain, supply chain, real estate.
Fill with light, expand and shine.
Because it's such a massive trend in blockchain. Okay, so DeFi is short for decentralized finance. Basically taking existing financial products.
Thank you for shining your light. It makes a huge difference.
Higher dimensional.
You're not really from here. Collective consciousness.
So it just grew like crazy, like a hockey stick. You can see the adoption curve. It was just insane. Sit there and watch this thing all year take off. I did my first like DC5 video.
We are here to pave the pathway for all of humanity to make this leap into a higher vibrational experience in the physical.
Basically, like replace a lot of the existing financial infrastructure, like banking. You can create apps that have competitive savings rates and lending rates and all that kind of stuff. We're looking at plenty of examples of those. Cryptocurrency exchanges that are built directly on the blockchain. Doing derivatives trading on the blockchain, anything you can really think about in terms of like finance. People are trying to build blockchain solutions that replicate their So another big thing is supply chain. So if you're not familiar with that, that's basically tracking the movement of goods that turn into end products. It may not be the best definition, but that's sort of my off-the-cuff explanation. So, an example of supply chain is, let's say you go to like Walmart, for example, and you buy, or any store, Amazon. Okay, everybody probably familiar with Amazon worldwide. Say you buy like a desk off Amazon, right? And you get the desk, but it comes in a box with a bunch of parts, like the top is a piece of wood. And the sides are like, metal legs. It's got a bunch of screws and everything, and you get to put the desk together. Well, it's very likely that each of those pieces came from a different company originally. Right? You might have bought the desk from a single distributor, but like somebody probably specialized in making the wood for that desk. And that company cut down the tree and all that stuff. Screws probably came from some company that like specializes in making screws, right? The legs. And so I mean, you get the idea, right? Each part of the desk comes from a different place. And supply chain is about tracking all of that, right? It's about like how does the metal that makes the screw, the wood that makes the desk turn into the desk eventually, okay? Because you have to manage all that stuff. You have to like, it's a complicated process. Anyways, supply chain is a big blockchain use case that tracks all that stuff, make sure that packages get to the right place on time, that distributors are honest and transparent. when goods move from point A to point B, all that kind of stuff. So supply chain is a big use case. I would file this under probably still a more experimental use case of blockchain technology. But big companies are investigating this, like Walmart, for example, looking at like competition with other technology. I believe it's proprietary things, don't quote me on that, I don't know all the details. But yeah, supply chain is definitely one way people are investigating investigating blockchain technology for its transparency, its trustless, and all that kind of stuff. So another quick kind of grab bag of things like digital identity, real estate, healthcare, and so we're going to look at some examples of some blockchain-based applications here. But first, let's talk about like why would people use the blockchain? This is what they're using it for. Why even do this? You can do a lot of this stuff in a different way. We can already do trading. We can already have money. We can already track supply chain. So why would we use the blockchain for this? All right, so let's talk about why people would use this technology in different ways. So there's three big reasons I'm going to talk about. The first one is transparency/verifiability, because a lot of times in blockchain, everything that happens is public. Other people can see it. We can verify that it happened. So why might you want to do that? Well, think about any use case where you just have to like trust somebody else that something happened behind the scenes that you might want to verify for yourself. Okay, be transparent. Other people can audit it. A vote, for example, if you're going to vote in an election and you cast your vote, you might want to make sure that it was counted. All right. So if you make it transparent, then you can potentially audit that yourself, or somebody else who has permission to audit it could audit it. Right? Also, going back to that supply chain thing. Okay, so let's say that you wanted to guarantee that like, you had the organic vegetables or something, and you wanted to track that produce everywhere through the supply chain. That's part of the transparency that should be in the blockchain. Okay. So another thing is trustlessness. This is trustlessness of the programs themselves. So we have a regular application that has a database for a job. You basically have to trust the application creator that they're not going to update the code. It's basically the rules of the system with a database which tracks the current state of the system. So money is an example, right? If you want to create a digital money, it's really terrible to create it with just a regular app, like a website, for example, or maybe like just a business like database or something like that. Okay, because here's why. If you code that app, then you, the app creator, can just like change something instantly. You can change how the money works. You can change somebody's balance. You could just say, well, I'll just take $100 from this guy and give it to that guy, right? There's a central party that controls that money, which is it's terrible. Okay?
Go for a lot of people, a lot of seekers, their goal is to eradicate suffering. Like I'm asking, why did you get on a spiritual path? I was suffering. But for me, it was just, I just wanted to, quote unquote, like we talked about in the first episode, I wanted to know what the, first I wanted to know what the fuck this Frankian thing is. And after I see through that this Frankian thing is just a projection, just a hallucination. And what the fuck is doing hallucinating? What the fuck is reality? So that was always my quote unquote goal. And then as a byproduct of understanding reality or understanding direct experience of understanding consciousness, my suffering has been eradicated by 99.9%. So by not focusing on suffering, I actually eradicated suffering.
See, it's interesting. I both totally relate and kind of differ in that. For me, it's like in finding, in feeling the suffering of the world. It's like it's not. It doesn't hurt anymore. It's like I know that it's a lesson. I know the greatest lesson in the world is contained within that, and that to seek these experiences out, you know, to seek out the cry of the world, to hear it and heed it and run towards it. I know, even in a perhaps in a selfish way, in terms of self-realizing security. All of us being self, not
so now let's talk about some
myself,
real-world examples that are out there.
self,
See this technology in action. Because talk about these benefits, this trustlessness, verifiability, all that kind of stuff. So let's put in some example apps that employ those things.
When you get stung bit by a mosquito, getting itch, it's your body telling you to slap it, otherwise it'll just create these bugs. It's telling you very use and I think
so let's just look at this is
forget that to look inward is to look at the people around us.
And to look inward requires the basic needs being met of people, which is very big. It's an external thing to have clean air, clean water, clean food, shelter, electricity, education, healthcare. Those are external things that then enable you to inquire with the question of who am I? What is reality? And that's a really important point. It synthesizes science and spirituality. It synthesizes consciousness and physicalism, which is ultimately what we need to do. And that actually, to tie in what you guys have been talking about a little bit, is that if you come from a place of like learning that you can take a breath, like 1, 2, 3 counts of you take a breath before you react, that's fantastic. And that can be really helpful, and you can go and share that with the world and help alleviate suffering totally. But the way that, in a sense, awakening goes into this is that if you go all the way in this process of emptying out all of your conditioning, all of your separation, all of your ego, and rather than this being something that is trying to still extract.
There are some stable cryptocurrencies whose price don't change relative to a different cryptocurrency like the US dollar, for example. So DAI is an example of a stable same volatility as like Bitcoin or Ethereum. USD coin or USDC is another example, and also
Worthiness
Tether.
from other people. Instead, this comes as just literally the sun itself enlightened. It comes as just the sun itself radiating perpetually onto all. And so you're not actually ever coming from a place of needing to get something from other people. So it's almost like the level of purity of service and the level of purity of compassion increases in proportion to how awakened.
It's also, I don't know about you, but I get really bad interest in my bank.
It's directly proportional to what others do. Martin Luther King said something like, for some strange reason, you know, I'm not happy until you're happy. What affects you affects me. And that's maybe the fundamental disconnect of our entire society.
So I'm not advising you to do that.
Use that word extraction.
This is still early technology. There's risk in using it now.
Value system. It's like an addiction. It's like meditation kind of breaking.
But over the long term, this can be
narrative.
This can become viable.
And I think that's
positive fun. Okay. So as a worker, basically it provides loans on the other side of things. People can borrow their funds. They can deposit cryptocurrencies and borrow against it. You can see there's a 4% interest rate here on borrowing. So there's a spread. There's a 1% spread, and the app's basically able to make profit on that. So it's able to be competitive with your bank because your bank charges all these crazy fees in their spread because they have staff, they have blah 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 blah, and all this fat basically. And Compound's able to automate away a lot of stuff with smart contracts.
It's capitalism.
It's one of the reasons they can give you a competitive interest rate and a loan money. So,
economic idolatry.
In some cases,
false belief system that we have.
And lots of people are doing that for like trading, for DeFi, for yield farming, and all that kind of stuff. So
this
that's one example of a really hot blockchain application. It's got a website here that talks to the blockchain, the smart contracts of the blockchain. It has a real world use case
money, trade,
that
these
competitive
economic systems,
compared
which are
to
really
non-blockchain
the most corrosive, religious doctrine in the world.
So let's
these
look at
forces are
a mobile
absolutely
application, because I think this is a really important
all of
one
us
to look
from
at.
ascending to a high degree.
Because I talked
And
about
I see
these
this
applications.
system really penetrate
Go
much deeper,
here, you
even
have to
in
install a special browser
spiritual
extension.
people still
You
see
have to, like, go
themselves
to
as still see the system itself, the way that our
cryptocurrency
society
exchange
runs,
first
the way that our
to buy
consumer cycle is
cryptocurrency
driven
before
on
you
endless
use the
growth, endless
application.
consumption, and endless
There's a lot of
self-interest,
steps in order to be able to
maximizing
use this, and
self-interest.
for
I see a lot of spiritual
vast
people
majority of
trapped
people,
in this because
they're
it's
just
the
gonna say that's
deepest
too
unquestioned
hard,
narrative,
right?
deepest
in order for me to use
identification
this
and
app.
addiction.
So I want to show you
And
how that makes
I think
it a lot easier. So
I-
this is
I-
Argent.
It even
it's
gets
a-
me to the
a
point
mobile
where I have
wallet
really distanced
that
myself
allows
from
you
the
to
conscious movement in a lot of ways because it's
do a lot
so
of this stuff straight
pervasive,
from
this
your phone without
self-interest,
having
this
to
kind
install
of
a special
narcissistic
browser
spirituality
extension with a
that's
having
all
to go
about
to a cryptocurrency
all about how I
exchange
can
first
ascend.
before you use the
Oh, these
applications.
people who aren't ascending, they're sheep.
Because I think
They're
that's going to be a
sheep.
big
They don't
gateway for a lot of
understand
people.
anything.
So
They don't know
I think a really good
what's
pitch on using
happening.
blockchain.
They're gonna fall
If you want
behind
to try it,
going
because it's not
ascend.
financial advice, not telling you to do
this is a
with all your money.
toxicity in our spiritual movement.
But you
and
can
it
do
needs to be
this
addressed because
yourself
we
and
can't
like show some
individually
people. You can
ascend.
download
It's
like
self-interest
Argent,
in a way.
install on your phone,
Self-interest. For all of us to
plug
get to the
in
point
your debit
where
card,
we change
something
these
like
systems,
that,
we
and
change
just
these
put a really small amount of
identifications,
money
these
in
bad
that
dreams of
start,
humanity, and get to a point where everyone's needs are met. The purpose of society, the design of society, is to work
play
people
around
up
it,
that
and that's what
ladder
Argent
of meeting
does.
their needs to
So
get
basically, you
them
just download the
so
app.
they can really
If you
figure
have
out what's
Apple
going
Pay on your phone or Android Pay, you can
And
basically automatically
I think
get your
enlightenment
card,
is
you
the
don't have
most
to do
selfish
anything extra. And let's say you want to
it's all
put
about the self.
$50
It's all about the
in
self to
and
the
start
point where
earning
you, at
interest.
the end, you flip yourself inside out.
Because it hooks into
So it's all about the self up to the
right?
point where
Go ahead
you
and get
realize
that
there's
3%
absolutely
interest
no
that,
self.
that you can see.
And then after you realize there's absolutely no self,
So,
whatever action that you do is not going to be your
It's
decision.
important to understand that
So,
because fundamentally,
some people wake up and they don't do shit.
compound is just a
Some people wake
protocol.
up, they play video games.
Smart
Some
contracts
people wake up,
before the
they
blockchain.
do
Sure,
the
you
environment,
can
help people
access it
wake
with
up,
the
they
compound
become secure.
website.
Some people wake up
It's
and
totally
then
open. So if you have like an
they
API,
become a CEO. But after you wake up, anything that you do will be an act of
you don't have to have
compassion.
any API keys.
Because it wouldn't be, it would automatically be an act not for the self, because there is no self. So after you wake up, you don't, like we talked about earlier in the other episode, it's like you don't have agency anymore. So it's like, it's not you deciding to do this or that.
I wake up and do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, but it's not like you're not free either, because it's neither free nor not free.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I really. It's a beautiful thing. It's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain this to someone the other day. She was like, "Oh, the world is so crazy. I don't know what to do. Like, I just don't know what's gonna happen." Well, you just accept it. It's gonna happen, and really seek to understand, like, okay, the world is hurting and crazy, and I have a role to play. This birth is all for a purpose, a part to play here, and it didn't involve me to participate in its destruction. It involved me to facilitate growth, sharing,
and you can do
increase
Uniswap
biodiversity,
straight out of the box inside of
production.
Argent.
So it's like finding that sense of purpose. Why are you in this world? How are you participating in this struggle, this venture of collective awakening, getting here together, raising us all up? Currently, the whole social system is dragging us all down. But it's like, I really
so now let's
feel
talk about this
like
question.
when you find that
blockchain
purpose,
should
that
you
wave,
use?
when you realize
So
that love is all
this
there
is a little
you
bit
gotta spread it
tricky
like
of a
wildfire.
question
You gotta spread that shit
answer,
like crazy. Where you just realize
My
like that
simple answer is,
dying.
unless you have
And none of us
really
can
good
ascend.
reason
You as a spiritual
that you
person
already
might
know
think,
about,
oh, I'm gonna fly away.
then you should
I'm
use
gonna go to that.
Ethereum.
Fuck it. You know?
So Ethereum
not-
is
That's not spirituality, bro.
blockchain with
Spirituality is not about some higher realm of
blockchain-based applications.
And like I said, spirituality is realizing form and intimacy. And the form part of it is compassion. Well, form you can look at it very pragmatic way, saying like this object has no coherent existence. Penetrated, it's holographic. It's only just
particles that are made up of quanta that are spinning around, and at the core,
programming language.
Yeah, there's not even quanta. It's just this. There's just nothing here. Okay, but then you can also say this is also form. It's also something. And the emptiness part of it, and the compassion part of it, and the form part of it is that emptiness manifests itself in not just the manifestation of objects, but also in like basic compassion. That's why compassion is an emphasized in a lot of it's an emphasis in a lot of traditions. And I also think the reason why compassion is such an emphasis in a lot of traditions is
with you that have answers
Because after awakening, if you don't practice compassion, it's not a guarantee that you do compassion. Even though like every action you do, it won't be for yourself anymore, but that still doesn't mean that you're gonna do
checks all those boxes.
You don't have the difference.
Lots of other blockchains do not check.
Yeah, I think it's like you can have this kind of
Some of them
higher
don't check
understanding of what's going on in the universe on this, very
so
kind of
my short answer is unless you have a really good reason, then I would use
Ethereum.
That's the technology that I was focused on.
But we exist in different layers and levels. There are levels that we are.
Exactly.
Say you're a husband, a father, a friend, whatever. These are all conditional relations. But it's like our ultimate conditional relations to the Earth, is to the planet, and to species that we are, this world that we are all a part of, the biosphere, our ecosystem, not our ecosystem, that is this totally abstract, formless, anti-enlightenment to exist in this very weird, we live in an abstraction. A lot of people, anybody.
You have an application where Bitcoin is, required. It's like a checkout system or like some sort of financial-based application. Then you should learn how Bitcoin works. Like learn how to make transactions on Bitcoin and do that inside of an application. How to integrate with Bitcoin wallet or something. Or let's say your job requires you to use Hyperledger Fabric, okay, and do like permission blockchain. Then you need to learn that, okay, for your job. Or let's say that your job requires you to do some sort of really proprietary distributed ledger technology that may not be quite blockchain for something like supply chain, for example. You would of course want to learn that stuff. So those are reasons why you're required to use a different piece of technology. But unless those requirements are upon you, then I would stick with Ethereum. So which programming languages should you learn for blockchain? Well, there's lots of different programming languages depending on what your job requires of you. So the two most common programming languages are going to be, the most common programming language, we'll start there, especially if you're dealing with Ethereum-based technologies, which most people who are building blockchain-based solutions are building on top of Ethereum. Then Solidity is probably going to be your number one language if you're doing sort of back-end development or full-stack development, okay? So let me pause really quickly and make that distinction, because I said earlier that we would talk about front-end versus back-end. So if you're brand new to programming, you've never coded at all, you're just like totally checking this out. So people talk about front-end, back-end. So front-end is basically creating things that the user can see, like a website, for example. So we talked about, Compound Finances is a website. That a front-end developer would be responsible for creating something like this, all right? Back-end is the thing the user really can't see necessarily. So the thing that makes the app run on the blockchain in this case. So smart contracts would be examples of back-end development in the context of blockchain. There are other back-end things like servers. You do use servers still often in blockchain for certain benefits and enhancements. But that's the front versus back-end. So full stack is doing both. So full stack means you touch the front end, you touch the back end, you touch all parts of the technology stack. So Solidity, so if you're back end or you're full stack, then Solidity.
There was no beginning and no end. It was sort of something that was there that was just discovered. It was like
so Solidity is a programming language that's used for creating Ethereum smart contracts. So it's a Turing-complete programming language influenced by C++, Python, and JavaScript. Alright, runs an Ethereum virtual machine. At the time of recording this video, Ethereum 1.0. It's statically typed. It supports inheritance, libraries, all that kind of stuff. So there's plenty of tutorials on my YouTube channel on this one about how to code smart contracts in Solidity. We'll get you more into that step-by-step plan. If you want to check them out, you can just go to my YouTube homepage, find any of those free courses there in that playlist. Okay. So Solidity is going to be a must, and even if you go work on something else, if you start with front end, I highly recommend you doing some tutorials in Solidity just to understand how it works. Because if you're talking to the blockchain, it's good to understand how smart contracts function, because you're probably going to be interacting with them even if you aren't. So next would be JavaScript. All right, and so JavaScript is used for creating user interfaces. Typically, that's not the only thing, but that's the primary thing it's for. So for example, on this compound finance website, JavaScript is responsible for all the interactivity on this website. So you like click this thing pops up. JavaScript is responsible for doing that. You click enable, alright, and then the enabling happens while JavaScript is responsible for that. So all the interactivity, all the buttons, all the button actions, all the animations on this website, JavaScript is responsible for that. So that's all front-end stuff, but JavaScript has a ton of application on the back end as well. So if you're a back-end developer, you still want to learn JavaScript in the context of Ethereum development because you use it for writing tests against the smart contracts. So the smart contracts are written in Solidity, but most of the time people don't write the tests in Solidity. They write it like JavaScript. It's really good to write tests for your smart contracts to make sure that they're robust. You write scripts a lot of times in JavaScript that just interact with the blockchain, they interact with your smart contracts. You gotta maintain the smart contract in production. JavaScript is really doing that. It's sort of migration. Blockchain data, JavaScript's really popular for that. So whether you're front end, back end, full stack, JavaScript is probably the second most popular language for Ethereum development, right? So if you're just like, I want the core Ethereum technology, the programming languages for that, Solidity and JavaScript will get you 99.9%. So, if you're doing JavaScript development, Web3.js is a really popular library for talking to the Ethereum blockchain. All right, React.js is also a really popular framework for building user interfaces. So some people like Vue or others, but React is a very popular one. That's why I teach on this channel. Okay. So even if you're just a back-end developer, knowing some React is still really good because at some point you'll probably have to build some sort of user interface to talk to smart contracts, even if it doesn't look nice, even if it's not super sophisticated, and React is a really good way to do that. Okay. So next, a very common one is Python. So why would you need to know Python? You don't need to know it necessarily. Your job might require you to, but to get started, you don't have to have Python. But people use Python for lots of different reasons, for creating backends. You can use JavaScript on the backend, like Node.js, for example. I forgot to mention that. But Python is really a backend language, and a scripting language. So sometimes we'll create servers that will help on their blockchain applications, like with Django or Flask, for example. And Python is the language that you would use to run those types of things. Web3 has a Python version, which would be really good for creating blockchain applications, right? So Go is another popular language for like core development, talking about developing actual blockchain infrastructure. Rust is another popular example of a language used for core development, and then also C++. So these top three languages would be the most common for like application developers, and these bottom languages would be more for like core developers. Okay, so that's the difference. App developers are developing what people use. Core developers are developing the apps. So for most people watching this video, you want to focus on the first two, maybe the first three. But unless you know you want to be a core developer, which that's going to be a pretty small percentage of people watching this video, then you wouldn't have to worry too much about these bottom three. Okay, but if you do, these are definitely some languages you can check out. So what does a blockchain developer do? Well, we've talked about a lot of different things in this video, kind of peppered throughout. Job description, talking about the programming languages, but let's like codify it and look at a complete list, okay? So the first is creating smart contracts. Again, so this is the building blocks of blockchain-based applications. They're written in Solidity, deployed to Ethereum, okay? So smart contract developer is probably the most common back-end task for blockchain developers on the front end, but on the back end, smart contracts on the back end. So another is blockchain-based websites. So creating user interfaces that are deployed to the web that talk to smart contracts. Again, Compound is an example of that. All right, and then next would be mobile applications that talk to the blockchain. So Argent would be an example of that as well. All All right. So blockchain backends. So this would be like web servers that sort of enhance blockchain-based applications. So maybe you have a web server that brings in cryptocurrency prices into your application, or just acts as some sort of caching mechanism to read information from the blockchain to speed the app up. You might have a web server that powers that to, like, you know, put a price on the page or something like that. Okay. That's how you might integrate a web server to a blockchain-based application. It doesn't take away from the blockchain nature of it, but it just enhances it. So the last would be like blockchain infrastructure. So this would be like creating a new blockchain, updating an existing blockchain, and how it works. When I say updating, I mean like fine-tuning it basically for the clients. So this blockchain nodes, and the client would be updated. Those are the examples of different things blockchain developers do. So one thing I want to talk about really quickly is that there are lots of different ways to make money with blockchain. And this is one of the things I love most about this. Is you've seen how in demand it is. It pays a lot higher than yields simply because of supply and demand economics. There's lots of people that want blockchain developers. Relatively few people understand the technology. Makes the price of compensation go up. But the other big reason is different ways to make money. You don't just have to get a job. You don't just have to be a freelancer. You can do lots of other stuff that normal developers, like web developers and mobile developers, can't do. All right. So there's a lot of ways to earn passive income, which is incredible. Okay. So one of the most common ways is, maybe not most common ways, but one popular way is with trading bots. Okay. So these are cryptocurrency trading bots that make money on autopilot. So how do they work? Well, they don't work like normal trading bots. So you're not talking about trying to predict cryptocurrency prices. Like you might see like a Bitcoin trading bot that's like, oh, Bitcoin's gonna go up $1,000 down $1,000, and I'm gonna trade it based on that, or like $10, whatever. This is different. It looks for price discrepancies on cryptocurrency exchanges. So it's called arbitrage. So you buy cryptocurrency like for $100 on one exchange and sell on a different exchange for $101. So that exploits or takes advantage of price discrepancies right now. And the cool thing about this, you do this with smart contracts on the blockchain, so the trades can't fail. You can do arbitrage on a cryptocurrency exchange without blockchain. You can just say like, you know, I'm gonna buy here and sell here, but the price might move on you. You might lose money on that trade. So these bots can't lose money because they're created by smart contracts, and you can actually code the smart contract to prevent that failure from happening. Right? If it doesn't, the trade's not successful, then the transaction reverts. Okay.
Shit, man.
The other cool thing about them is you can use flash loans. Okay. Look at that here. Flash loans are how you can borrow millions of dollars in cryptocurrency with zero money down. Alright, I've done lots of videos on my channel about these trading bots for flash loans. You can search about them. The master classes on them, build my own trading bots. So basically, flash loans are how you can borrow money for trading millions of dollars as long as you pay it back in the same transaction. So if you see that cryptocurrency price discrepancy, you can take out a loan, do the arbitrage trade, pay the loan back instantly, and make a profit from it. They have to find these opportunities. That's part of the battle of building the bot. But you can, you know, build a bot to search these out, use the flash loans, create the smart contracts to do it. Right. So another way is with yield farming. So I make a really quick mention of this, but like on the Compound website, you know, you can earn this 3% interest here, but you can also earn extra interest with comp tokens. So this is Comp's own native cryptocurrency. And you know, that's called liquidity mining or yield farming, but you can increase your exposure to this and earn even more percentage, like 10, 15, 20, 30 plus percent as a developer by creating your own smart contracts to hook into the Compound protocol. The master classes on this. You can use flash loans to increase that exposure and do things you can't do through the Compound website to earn extra passive income with that application. All right. So another way is borrowing blockchain infrastructure. So blockchain nodes. So we're getting close. So Ethereum 2.0 at the time for this video is launched in phase 0. Okay. So that's Ethereum moving from proof of work to proof of stake. Inside out. You have to set up a node if that's full proof. Most servers have 32 stake.
Okay, so it's safer to look up.
But you can infrastructure tasks. Like you can run a chain link in there. So chain link is a external data provider for smart contracts. Chain link, then you earn a passive income for doing that as well. And chain link validators make thousands of dollars per day and per week, or per week and per day, I should
Consider
say.
the following.
So that's another really great opportunity.
Right?
So these are things that you can do with blockchain, other than just getting a job, other than becoming a freelancer, lots of passive income.
In another explainer, we addressed this,
but these are just ones I want to bring up right now. All right, so let's talk about the libraries and frameworks you would need to know if you want to build blockchain applications. So you don't have to know everything on this list, but I'm going to tell you a bunch of tools that you can use to accomplish whatever your goal you're trying to do, whether it's just create smart contracts, create a blockchain website, create a mobile app with blockchain, a backend, whatever. Okay. So let's go through these one by one. So, if you're going to create smart contracts, you need Node.js installed on your computer. So Node is a way to run blockchain, it's a way to run JavaScript outside your web browser. JavaScript is made to run inside your web browser, but if you want to run a JavaScript script on your computer, you need Node.js installed. If you want to use JavaScript to create a backend web server, or a mobile app or something like that, then you need Node.js installed because it's a runtime environment for JavaScript outside your web browser, which is where it's built to run initially. Okay. So that's also going to give you NPM, which is a package manager. So if you're importing any specific libraries into your app, like Web3.js, for example, you're going to install NPM. You can use Yarn. That's a really cool.
If the sun were yellow,
all right, so that's going to come bundled with Node.js. There's nothing extra for you to do there. So the next one is Truffle. By the way, sometimes Truffle is a framework for creating Ethereum smart contracts. All right, so it lets you write Ethereum smart contracts with a programming language. It lets you write tests for the smart contracts inside of them. It's got a test runner that you can just run from the command line. It's got a script runner, so you can use scripts against the blockchain. You can code websites inside of Truffle as well, so it's extra work. Yeah, Truffle is awesome. So if you're gonna create your smart contracts, I recommend checking out Truffle. So the next one is MetaMask. All right. So this is a mobile. Let's say mobile. It does have a mobile portion to it, but it's an Ethereum wallet. So let me just pull it up right here on the screen. So MetaMask, you can see this little fox icon up here in my right-hand corner. So I'm not logged in at the moment, but basically, if you want to use a blockchain-based application, you need MetaMask installed. So a lot of browsers don't support blockchain connectivity out of the box. That's what MetaMask does. You can just go to the Google Chrome Web Store, search for MetaMask, install it. You need to hold some cryptocurrency in your wallet. That's what it's for too. MetaMask also has a mobile version, so you can download it on your phone and use blockchain apps that way, store cryptocurrency that way, send it around. You can also just store cryptocurrency inside your MetaMask wallet, send it around, Ethereum-based cryptocurrencies. Okay, so that's what MetaMask is. That's what it's for. You definitely need it on your computer if you're going to develop blockchain-based applications. Next is Ganache. So Ganache is a development blockchain. So if you want to download a blockchain on your computer, so that you don't have to risk, real cryptocurrency, then that's what Ganache does. So you can download it, turn it on. It's going to give you a bunch of accounts for free. It's going to give you a bunch of cryptocurrency in those wallets. It's not worth anything in the real world. It's just fake cryptocurrency. But this lets you, have a throwaway blockchain that you can try things out on. And because the alternative is either, using a test network, which you can also do. It takes more time and it's a little more intensive. But the worst alternative is just testing things out on a live blockchain with Ethereum, for example, where you just spend money and hope things work, right? I've done this a lot. Sometimes you actually have to do that in blockchain development. I mean, I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars testing things out on live blockchains, and then having to go back to the drawing board. So trust me, if we didn't have these development blockchains, it'd be way more painful. So that's what Ganache does, all right? So next is Web3.js. So just like your web browser does not support connection to the blockchain out of the box, websites won't support connection to the blockchain out of the box. So if you see like you know, the compound finance example we looked at several times in this video, if you want an application like that to talk to the blockchain, you have to connect to it, and that's really what Web3.js does. Okay, so it allows your application to connect to Ethereum. It's a JavaScript library, so if you're creating a user interface that connects to Ethereum, Web3.js is one of the most popular ways to do that. There's an alternative to Web3.js. There's also Ethers.js. Lots of developers use this too. All right, so you can check that out as an alternative to Web3. Web3 is the one I use the most on this channel. I've done some videos about Ether as well. So next is React.js. So this is if you want to create a user interface, like a website, for example. So there's nothing blockchain specific about React. It's just really common in the Ethereum ecosystem. That's one of the reasons that I focus on it. I've got a lot of experience with React. Lots of other developers use it to develop user interfaces for smart contracts. It's very standard, very, very, very standard. There's alternatives like Vue, but if you just want an opinionated, no thinking answer, then React is the way to go. Okay, so I teach on this channel, I teach in the blockchain bootcamp. Yeah, it's really great. So next would be if you want to create some sort of like server side process, create some sort of backend that talks to the blockchain for some, you know, improvement, maybe an API that pulls data from the blockchain and serves that up to other users. Express.js is an example. So say you just learned JavaScript, then you can use Express. So let's see here. I'm losing it here. Express. So Express is just a library NPM package that lets you run a server with JavaScript. Okay. So that's if you know JavaScript. If you know Python and you want to do a Python backend, you can look at Flask. Okay, so this is a pretty lightweight development framework. I mean, it can be very robust, but you have to configure a lot of stuff. So Flask is a way to build backends with Python. Python's also a pretty popular programming language in blockchain. It has Web3, the Python version, okay, which you can integrate into your Flask application if you want to. If you like Django, that's another...
Hi everyone, welcome to Portals, and thank you for checking out our hackathon submission. We are super excited to be bringing this to the Solana ecosystem. We started this project earlier this year because we want to see a web-based virtual world with an awesome downtown, like a virtual Neo-Tokyo, something where a single city block would have hundreds of things to do. This isn't exactly a brand new idea. Everyone and their grandma wants to build the Metaverse, but other crypto Metaverse platforms have started by selling a ton of land that usually just sits empty. So let's get into the demo where we're trying to create building blocks and experiences that we think will lead to a dense, interesting downtown. So just one click and you're in. We are launching with a Ready Player One style egg hunt where the first 100 people to solve all of the puzzles in this room will receive Solana NFTs redeemable for prime real estate in building number 1 of the downtown. So the people participating the most get the real estate. In the future, you'll be able to buy real estate too, but only once there's a lot of traffic and it's actually valuable. The first part of this experience is online now with the full egg hunt starting later this month. The cool part is that this experience was built inside of Portals using the space building tools right in the browser. Here are some things you can do in the Room Builder preview. Lay down some walls and floors, grab items from your inventory and place them in your space. You can rotate with Q&E. You can also make items, open iframes, and build functionality into your games by using code platforms like Code Sandbox, Glitch, or Replit. With these super easy to use tools, you'll be able to build multiplayer, single-player escape rooms, murder mysteries, and eventually dungeon crawlers and adventure games. One of the first Solana integrations in the demo lets you connect your Phantom wallet to display your NFTs in the room. You can resize with the Q&E keys. You can add a link to your listing.
You won't be able to really build a full application in here. You'll just be able to create smart contracts. sometimes it's a little abstract. You're like, okay,
You'll also be able to bring 3D NFTs that are on the Solana blockchain. That's coming in the next update. To share your space, just copy your address and send someone a link. They'll be able to hop in, and text chat and voice chat are built in. You're also able to drop a TV in the room, and you can watch YouTube together. We also want to allow Solana NFT communities to be able to create private spaces for their NFT holders. So we're launching with some custom spaces we made to ensure a great first-time experience with Portals. Once you have a cool space built off-grid, using the tools in Portals, you'll be able to submit it to the city council to move it on-grid and into the downtown experience. We want to make sure that only the coolest experiences are front and center for first-time users entering the downtown. With Solana's low-cost transaction fees and user experience-focused tools like Phantom, we'll be able to continue towards our vision of making this a platform that's easy to use and accessible for everyone. We are still working hard to build a framework for a player-first metaverse, but check out the preview demo at theportal.to, and thank you for watching.
You can create an application that way. That's what you ultimately want to get to. And the best way, I think, probably is to just start there. But if you like just starting with the easiest possible thing, then you could do it directly on your browser. I want to point you to a tutorial that will help you do all that stuff. So if you Google or get on YouTube and look for blockchain tutorial for beginners, this is my video, all right, where I show you how to build this application right here, step by step. I show you how to set up everything on your computer, install it, create this app. So this is a DeFi app. It's a token farm where you'll create a cryptocurrency, all right, you'll stake it into this application, and it'll start earning like a passive income or a staking reward for doing that. Okay, so inside there I show you how to build this DeFi app, I show you how to set it up on your computer, how to you know, do all that stuff so that you can graduate from just in-browser development to full stack, you know, local development on your computer. All right, so now let's talk about the step-by-step plan on how to become a blockchain developer. So whether you're like brand new, you don't know anything about programming, or like you're a developer already and you want to transition into blockchain, this is a pretty good outline for both people. Now, if you're already a developer, you're of course going to be able to do this a lot faster than somebody who's brand new, no experience. But the track is basically the same. All right, so let's talk about what that is. So, you know, if you're already somewhat familiar with blockchain and you've already like played around with it, you might be able to skip a few of these preliminary steps. But let's just start there, all right, in case you might have missed something. So the first thing is to set up a blockchain wallet. Okay, so that's this MetaMask wallet right here. Okay, so it's all MetaMask on your computer. Just understand like what is a wallet? What does it do? It holds cryptocurrency. Learn how it works. Understand that like, you know, the cryptocurrency actually isn't stored in your wallet. It's stored on the blockchain, and that, you know, you authorize the blockchain to spend the money whenever you sign the transactions and things like that. So you want to just like store some cryptocurrency in the wallet. Send it around, see what it looks like to send cryptocurrency inside of a wallet. So the cool thing is you don't have to do this with real money, all right? You can just use a test network. So like you can just look up like the Rinkeby test network, all right? Something like that. Let me just pull it up here. Let's see. Let's do it here. So if you go like rinkeby.etherscan.io, this is a blockchain explorer that looks at the blockchain. So you can look for a Rinkeby faucet, get some fake cryptocurrency, and just send it around inside your wallet like that. That'd be the fastest and easiest way to do it without risking any real money. So if you want to do it with real money, you can do it with a small amount of money. So you can go to a website like Coinbase. Okay, so Coinbase is a way to buy cryptocurrency. So you can buy and sell different cryptocurrencies on here with like a debit card. But I would recommend just buying some Ether, so Ethereum cryptocurrency, sending it to your MetaMask wallet on your Ethereum mainnet. You don't have to do a lot. You can do $5 or something like that, and just, you know, see how it works, see what it looks like. So that's the first step, is really just getting used to cryptocurrency, seeing what that's like before you even try to build an application. Because once you build the apps, you have to use cryptocurrency to do it, to pay the gas fees, etc., to build DeFi apps. So you want to get the basic understanding of what it's like to even use a blockchain. Look at a transaction, look at a transaction receipt on Etherscan, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So the next thing would be to do some sort of step-by-step tutorial. All right. So this is going to be where you jump in and you get exposed to the frameworks, the libraries, the programming languages, everything, okay? The best way is to learn by doing. To have a goal in mind, I want to become a blockchain developer, you break that down into a lesser goal, which is I just want to build an app. And that breaks down into smaller goals of I need to learn the programming languages to build this app. And then to a smaller goal of I need to learn this concept to make this programming language do this thing, all right? So it's the fastest way to learn, it's the most efficient way to learn. It's how I teach on this channel. So you can just do the tutorial like this blockchain tutorial for beginners, build a DeFi app. It'll show you all those libraries and programming languages. You'll learn about Solidity, JavaScript, Truffle, Ganache, Web3.js, Ethereum, React.js, DeFi, cryptocurrency, tokens, staking, everything. You'll learn it all in this app, okay? Just by doing it. So that's the next step, all right? Is basically once you use cryptocurrency, jump in and start building a step-by-step tutorial that will teach you all these fundamentals, okay? It's better to learn that way than be like, here's a list of programming languages, go study those programming languages, then learn how to like create something in those programming languages, and then learn how to connect it to a real app, and then like this, then that. That takes way too long, and honestly, it's a worse way to learn because you won't have context. Like if I teach you a bunch of programming languages without teaching like what those programming languages can do, then you won't click, okay? You'll sit there staring at code, and you won't know what the code is supposed to do. But if you see the code demonstrated on screen and be like, this code does this, and then like learn how this code works, and then you'll learn the ABCs of that programming language when you see the explanation of how that code works, it's so much faster. It's so much faster, right? Because you have purpose, you have a reason you want to learn something, and you have context, right? So context and purpose are huge, and basically building things, learning by doing accomplishes all that at the same time, right? So, the tutorials that I put on this channel, and like, you know, this, before I get to that point, the other thing I would say, the caveat here is at some point you do want to get the in-depth aspect of the programming languages. So like when you go through a tutorial like this, you'll learn the basics, right? You'll learn the basics of how to get something working. Now you will at some point want to go learn more in-depth nuances of the programming language, but it's better to do that after you've learned the basics by building something, because you get so much knowledge, so much content, and then you can go like learn the specifics of a programming language. And that's like a good example of what this Master Solidity series is for. So like once you've learned the fundamentals by building an app, then maybe it makes sense to go like learn the intricacies and the nuance and like sort of the dictionary way of doing things. Like learn everything about arrays, then learn everything about, you know, loops and conditionals and you know, inheritance, all that kind of stuff. Maybe do that after you build a basic app first. Okay, that's what I would say. So yeah, so the step-by-step tutorials, most of them I put on this channel are really tutorials. They're designed to teach you the basics, to get you started, introduce the technologies. So the next one would be to build a real-world tutorial. So this is a lot like what I do inside the Blockchain Bootcamp. I teach you how to build a decentralized cryptocurrency exchange that works like you would build like an app that you would build at a job. So it has more advanced features. It's secure. So basically, you could use it. You could deploy live to a blockchain right now. Real people could use it, and it would have a real use case. It's built to that level. Okay, that's the next step. After you've done a tutorial on the basics, you want to jump up and build a real-world tutorial, like a much more in-depth, like expert-level type of thing, or someone's guiding you through that. So that's the next step. After you do a step-by-step sort of introductory tutorial, I would say. So both of these things will be guided. Someone's showing you on screen how to do it. You're learning the skills as someone's holding your hands through the entire process. That's a great way to learn. Hand holding is great when you're brand new and have no idea what's going on, whether you're a programmer already or not. But you eventually want to graduate from hand holding, because this is how you're going to develop the functional skill of actually programming and actually learning to write code that solves problems, and that's unguided development. Okay, so how do you graduate from guided tutorials to unguided development? Well, it basically looks like this. So come up with something that you want to build and think about, how do I use blockchain to build this? All right. You'll have to solve the problem in your head, and then you'll have to break down that problem into the code that implements it. So what's an example? There are two ways to do it. You can build something brand new from scratch, okay? You can say, hey, I want to build you can build something from scratch, or you could take something that exists now and just add features on it. Okay, so let's start off with the building something from scratch. The easiest way is to build something very similar to something that already exists. So like you could say, I want to build a decentralized bank where people can earn interest on their cryptocurrency. They can deposit and also borrow on the other side, a lot like the Compound Finance app. So you say, okay, I want to build that. So what do I need to build that? Well, I need smart contracts. The smart contracts have to deposit cryptocurrency. So what do I need to know in order to do that? The smart contracts also have to be able to borrow cryptocurrency on the other side, or let users borrow the cryptocurrency. So what do I need to know to make that happen? You can research these things, find those answers, and then that gets something that's involved. How do I write the code to make that happen? So here's where your learning really comes alive. You're gonna run into walls, okay? You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna want to throw your computer out the window, but that's where you acquire the hard-won knowledge that makes you a good developer. Because the hard truth is, you're gonna face that in your career at some point. So it's better to go ahead and face it now, because that's gonna give you solid orientation for what your life is gonna be like after you become a developer. Okay, so it's when you get forced in those moments of having to figure out things you don't know how to do, to really grow, to really learn. That's what's gonna make you a pro developer. That's what you do by unguided development. So, as I said, that's like when you can build something from scratch based on something else that you already know about, because then you can just write. Sometimes you can copy a little bit of their code or copy their solution, kind of cheat a little bit, but that'll still better than just doing a straight up tutorial. So the harder way is basically invent something that doesn't exist and then coding it, but that might be a little challenging if you're just starting out. But if you've been doing multiple tutorials, maybe that's a good next step. So the easiest way to go from real world tutorials to unguided development is just to build features on top of existing tutorials. Basically take an existing tutorial and then take the next step. So let's say like, this adapt token farm. If you want to build out your skills, you can say, well, I want to add some more code to the smart contract that like implements a lockup period for staking. Maybe they have to stake for a year before they earn rewards or something like that. Okay, you could just try to figure out, okay, how do I write the code to make people like keep their money in this app for a year and lock it up for all their staking. Those are the kinds of things you think through, and then you invent the code that does that, you implement it, and that's how you go from real world tutorial to unguided development. That's how you create those real functional skills, problem solving skills, meta skills, if you will, that make development better. That make it better. Alright, so once you're doing unguided development, and you've built, you basically want to take your unguided development and polish it off. Like make it look nice and include it into a portfolio. Because if you want to land a job, you need to communicate that you have the skills. Your portfolio is the best way to do this. So you can just create a portfolio website that gives you a presence that tells people who you are, what you can do. You can basically make your resume all in the same place. It's a really good way to stand out. Just make your resume look awesome. It shows you've also done the extra mile to present yourself. when you create your portfolio and your resume website, you want to put your project that you've done inside, and that's exactly what this unguided development is great for. So if you build something from scratch, or you take an existing tutorial and you build on top of it, you want to polish it off so that it looks nice, so that you can put some screenshots of it inside your web portfolio website. You can click through and actually use the application. Maybe it's on a test network, and you can do a video demo of you talking about the application and showing it on screen. You would definitely want to open source the code on GitHub, so if you have a technical hiring manager, they can look at the code that you've written and see what the quality of work is like. So that's all the kind of stuff you want to do. So that you've done the unguided development, you can advertise yourself, try to market yourself, launching a job. So the next thing is like you start applying for jobs. So there's lots of different ways to do this. You can look at the job posting website that we talked about before.
I'm back in your face, Chuck.
Right.
Well, virtually, yes. It's because you moved closer to the camera. It's not as intimidating as it is in real life. You're a pretty big guy, so in real life that's intimidating. But but virtually it's just like you're like making a funny face to me.
You know, I grew up in the street. If people want to get in a fight with you don't fight the person. Pretend you were angry and scared ass, but you say, "Hold me back!" Right. Hold me back. And you would remind people to have to hold me Yeah, it's not a I need you to hold me. Right. So you don't hit me. Right. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about
meetups, that's kind of hard right now for a lot of people. But
we kind of define 24 hours.
I've heard a lot more videos on this channel now. So I highly recommend checking those out. But there's so many ways you can do it. You can look them up online.
As you might guess,
network online.
it takes 23 hours, 56 minutes, 4 seconds.
So some people ask me, like, when should you apply?
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. So let me just hear about what I mean. 23 hours, get rid of the entire system, and watch the
It's not too fast. Like, you don't want
and
to do
stand there and type. It will then spot the time, come back around.
But once you've done some unguided development, you definitely want to do
That's called a sidereal.
apply for some jobs. Okay? So you may not get a job right away.
However,
Animal warfare, sun suit, body armor, move like karma, come to you.
because in the time it took Earth to rotate 23 hours and 56 minutes, it actually moved almost 1 degree in its orbit around the sun. So it rotates back to where it previously went, but it has to turn a little bit.
Over there, so you get that missing little bit extra to put the sun back in the That's fantastic.
When find a better place to hide.
I've only just begun.
MCs are just there, that's why I keep on stamping. Animal warfare, sun suit, body armor, move like karma, come to you, come to you, come to you.
Okay, and how many degrees is that? 360? Yeah, so it's about a degree. It's about a degree in there.
Blockchain.
That's basically a degree of the time. But it has to be a degree of the blockchain. So we can maybe keep that it's a little bit extra. Okay. Move just a little bit. Correct. Well, let's keep going. Earth orbit around the sun is not a perfect circle. By the way, so the first day is sidereal, the second day is a solar.
But I'm going to save two of the most common ones and probably the most important ones for the end of the video, because I get these weekly. I get these multiple times per week. Okay? So the first one is, how long does it take to become a blockchain developer? So it really depends. It depends on lots of things, like where you're starting from. You know, do you have any coding background? You know, how much time do you have to study blockchain development? Okay.
So, it turns out that extra 4 minutes is not the same as the farther from the sun than if we're because we move more than our allocated fraction of the circle when we're close to the sun and less when we're farther away from the sun. So, the length of the solar day continually drops.
Having a goal is key. So if your brain
And sometimes it's less than 24 hours, sometimes more than that. So sometimes the sun gets to its highest point in its before thought noon, or sometimes it gets. So what we do is we just average that over the whole year. Say, sun. By the way, if you ever look at Sandbox, there's a map on the sundial that corrects for the sun being early and the sun being late. You either add or subtract up to 15 minutes of the day from what the sun time is in order to get the clock. Right? Every sundial has a configuration for an analog. I don't want to talk about analog right now. So, what you have on your clock, the average length of the day. Right. So now we define that as 24 hours, each hour 60 minutes, each minute 60 seconds. Got it. Okay. Well, what is defining this? Well, it's the rotation of the Earth.
Way more likely that you'll.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. How stable is that? Even in the perfect average level. You'll never know, will you? Because you're using Earth to define the time. Right.
The galactic zoological canon, a species called a lasma, which is supposed to possess the power to alter their molecular structure into other life forms.
The woman is not what she appears to be. She is shape-shifting.
That is not a good average. You know, you watch it with 10 minutes a month. You set your watch every day. Why do you think high school would always say, let's synchronize our clocks? Right. They knew that the clocks were not keeping good time, Earth was keeping good time. So the responsibility of keeping time is something like a Bible. When you do this, you multiply it by 60, multiply that by 60 hours, multiply that by 24, you do this, and you find out Earth is slowing down. You know, it's kind of old. He's saying, he had a this tends to tire. If you're 4.6 billion years old, you see that's very sweet of you. Very geriatrically sensitive. So only would know that
ignore him. Tell him to calm down, ignore him. you did. What you did. Bro, I can't believe that you done this, man. You lot are
work to slow down the rotation curve. Oh, wow. Okay, because the moon is causing these tides. Okay? And we're rotating faster than the moon is orbiting us. So the moon is tugging on tides backwards on our attempt to rotate. Okay? A counterbalance, exactly. But against us. So, tides are slowing down the rotation of the Earth, and in response, the moon is spiraling away from us by a couple of inches. Okay, that's in response to Earth slowing down. Normally, it's called conservation of angular momentum, but it's a big ballet. Okay? And so, we've been slowing down. So, what we could do is say, let's
only thing I ask in return is
that we always have 24 hours and 60 seconds. But that's messy. Every year, here's a new definition of the second. Go to your lab, read it from no, much easier to just sell that. Breaking up with the moon right now. Breaking up is hard to do. Everybody has to be on the same page since the breaks up the that's a nice way. So this.
Go check out this tutorials.
The way we talked
about this video.
We added
this deep dive.
Oh well. Has he ever years?
No, it's in the no. Did I mention years? Days, dude. Days.
Every 4 days?
And if you like
No.
you want
What
to
I'm saying
start
is,
leveling up and building.
we monitor when we fell.
So when the second, I know that we want based on
correct. Then internationally, we say time to throw it in seconds.
now we have
by convention we throw it in on June 30th or on December 31st. And we can throw in one at each time if we need it. Okay? Since 1980, something like early 70s, there's been 20. So when they're going to enter these things, we choose which of those days to do. When they do so, that final minute is 62 seconds. And so this is what we do.
The longest minute of
yeah, it's the longest minute because it's actually 61 seconds. Okay, so newspapers have
よ。じゃあ。Yo.